Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're reading from the Adi Lila, 7th chapter, 5 features of the Lord. And we are on verse number 12. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lakhayate girim yat kripa tamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Verse 12, chapter 7, Adi Lila. Ithe bhakta bhava dhare Chaitanya Gosani Bhakta Swarupa Tanra Nityananda Bhai. Ithe, for this reason, Bhakta Bhav, the ecstasy of a devotee, Dhare, accepts Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gosani, the transcendental teacher, Bhakta Swarup, exactly like a pure devotee, Tanra, his, Nityananda, Lord Nityananda, Bhai, brother. So these were the synonyms from Bengali to English. Translation. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme teacher, accepts the form of a devotee and accepts Lord Nityananda and his elder brother. Verse 13. Bhaktavatara Tanra Acharya Gosani E Tina Tattva Sabe Prabhu Kari Gai. Bhaktavatar, incarnation as a devotee, Tanra, his, Acharya Gosani, the supreme teacher, Advait Acharya Prabhu, A, all these, Tina, teen, Tattva, truth, Sabe, all, Prabhu, the predominator, Kari, by such understanding, Gai, we sing. Translation. Shri Advaita Acharya is Lord Chaitanya's incarnation as a devotee. Therefore, these three tattvas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Gosani, are the predominators or masters. Purport. Gosani means Goswami. A person who has full control over the senses and mind is called a Goswami or Gosani. One who does not have such control are called a Dasa or a servant of the senses and cannot become a spiritual master. A spiritual master who actually has control over the mind and senses is called Goswami. Although the Goswami title has become a hereditary designation for unscrupulous men, actually the title Gosani or Goswami began from Sri Rupa Goswami, who presented himself as an ordinary grihastha and minister in government service, but became a Goswami when he was actually elevated by the instruction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Goswami is not a hereditary title but refers to one's qualifications when one is highly elevated in spiritual advancement. Regardless of where from he comes, he may be called Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Gosani Prabhu are natural Goswamis because they belong to the Vishnu Tattva category. As such, all of them are Prabhus, predominators or masters, and they are sometimes called Chaitanya Gosani, Nityananda Gosani, and Advaita Gosani. Their so-called descendants who do not have the qualifications of Goswamis have accepted this title as hereditary designation or a professional degree that is not in accord with the Shastric injunctions. Verse 14. Eka Mahaprabhu Ara Prabhu Dui Jana Dui Prabhu Seve Mahaprabhura Charana. Synonyms: Eka Mahaprabhu, one Mahaprabhu or the supreme predominator, Ara Prabhu Duijana, and the other two, Nityananda and Advaita, are two Prabhus masters, Dui Prabhu, the two Prabhus, Nityananda and Advaita Gosani, Seve Sarva Mahaprabhura of the supreme predominator, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Charan, that is the lotus feet. Translation. One of them is Mahaprabhu and the other two are Prabhus. These two Prabhus serve the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Purport. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu all belong to the same Vishnu category, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is nevertheless accepted as the supreme, and the other two Prabhus engage in his transcendental loving service to teach ordinary living entities that every one of us is subordinate to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In another place in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Adi Lila, 5th chapter, verse 142, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabha Britya. The only Supreme Master is Krishna, and all others, both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, engage in the service of the Lord. Both the Vishnu Tattva as Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita and the Jiva Tattva, Srivasati Gaur Bhakt Vrinda, engage in the service of the Lord. But one must distinguish between the Vishnu Tattva servitors and the Jiva Tattva servitors. The Jiva Tattva servitors, the spiritual master is actually the servitor God. As explained in previous verses, in the absolute world there are no such differences, yet one must observe these differences in order to distinguish the Supreme from his subordinates. Verse 15, Aitina Tattva Sarvaradhaya Karimani Chaturtha Ye Bhakta Tattva Aradhaka Jani. Synonyms: Aitina Tattva, all three of these truths. Sarva Aradhya, worshipable by all living entities. Karimani, accepting such. Chaturtha, fourth. Ye, who is. Bhakta Tattva, in the category of devotees. Aradhaka, worshipper. Jani, I understand. Translation: the three predominators, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu, are worshipable by all living entities, and the fourth principle, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, is to be understood as their worshipper. Purport: in his Anubhashya, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, describing the truth about the Panch Tattva, explains that we should understand that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme predominator, and that Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are his subordinates but are also predominators. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are manifestations of the Supreme Lord. All of them are Vishnu Tattva. So, the Panch Tattva, they're all Vishnu Tattvas. And, among the Panch Tattva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, they are the manifestations of Supreme Lord, so they are Vishnu Tattva. The Supreme and are therefore worshipable by the living entities. Although the other two Tattvas within the category of Panch Tattva, namely Shakti Tattva and Jiva Tattva, represented by Gadadhar and Srivas, are worshippers of the Supreme Lord. They are the same category because they eternally engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are the manifestations of the Lord, so they are the Vishnu Tattvas, and Gadadhar is the Shakti Tattva and Srivas is the Jiva Tattva. And earlier on, in the earlier reading we had read that Srivas is the pure devotee form of the Lord. Verse 16, Shrivasadi yata koti koti bhakta gana shuddha bhakta tattva madhye tan sabara ganana. Shrivasadi, devotees headed by Srivas Thakur, yata, all others, koti koti, innumerable, bhaktagan, devotees, shuddha bhakt, pure devotees, tattva madhye, in the truth, tan sabara, all of them, ganana, counted. Translations: there are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord headed by Srivas Thakur who are known as unalloyed devotees. Prabhura Shakti Avatar Antaranga Bhakta Kari Ganana Yanahara. Synonyms: Gadadhar is Gadadhar, Pandita of the learned scholar, Adi headed by, Prabhura of the Lord, Shakti potency, Avatar incarnation, Antaranga very confidential, Bhakta devotee, Kari accepting, Ganana counting, Yanahara of whom. Translation: the devotees headed by Gadadhar Pandit are to be considered incarnations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are confidential devotees engaged in the service of the Lord. Purport: in connection with verses 16 and 17, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in his Anubhashya, there are specific symptoms by which the internal devotees and the unalloyed devotees or pure devotees are to be known. All unalloyed devotees are Shakti Tattvas or potencies of the Lord. Some of them are situated in conjugal love and others in parental affection, fraternity, and servitude. Certainly, all of them are devotees. By making a comparative study, it is found that the devotees or potencies who are engaged in conjugal love are better situated than the others. Thus, devotees who are in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in conjugal love are considered to be the most confidential devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who engage in the service of Lord Nityananda and Lord Advaita Prabhu generally have relationships of parental love, fraternity, servitude, and neutrality. When such devotees develop great attachment for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too become situated within the intimate circle of devotees in conjugal love. This gradual development of devotional service is described by Sri Narottam Das Thakur as follows. Gauranga balite habi pulak sharira hari hari balite nayane babe nira ar kabe nitay chan karuna karibe samsara vasana मोरा कबे तुच्छ हबे विषय छाड़िया कबे शुद्ध हबे मना कबे हामा हरेबा हेरेबा श्री वृंदावन रूप रघुनाथ पदे हाइबे आकुति कबे हामा भुजबा श्री युगला piriti. When will there be eruptions on my body as soon as I chant the name of Lord Chaitanya? Then and when will be incessant torrents of tears as soon as I chant the holy names? Hare Krishna. When will Lord Nityananda be merciful toward me and free me from all desires for material enjoyment? When will my mind be completely freed from the contamination of desires for material pleasure? Only at that time will it be possible for me to understand Vrindavan. Only if I become attached to the instructions given by the 6 Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami will it be possible for me to understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna by attachment to the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One immediately comes to the ecstatic position. When he develops his love for Nityananda Prabhu, he is freed from all attachment to the material world, and at that time he becomes eligible to understand the Lord's pastimes in Vrindavan. In that condition, when one develops his love for the 6 Goswamis, he can understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. These are the different stages of a pure devotee's promotion to conjugal love in the service of Radha and Krishna in an intimate relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 18 and 19. Yana Sabal Lana Prabhura Nitya Vihara Yana Sabha Lena Prabhura Kirtana Prachara Yana Sabha Lena Karena Prema Aswadana Yana Sabha Lena Dan Kare Prema Dhana. Synonyms: Yana Sabha, all; Lena, taking company; Prabhura, of the Lord; Nitya, eternal; Vihara, pastime; Yana Sabha, all those who are; Lena, taking company; Prabhura, of the Lord; Kirtana, Sankirtana; Prachara, movement; Yana Sabha, persons with whom; Lena, in accompaniment; Karena, he does; Prema, love of God; Aswadana, taste; Yana Sabha, those who are; Lena, in accompaniment; Dana Kare, gives in charity; Prema Dhana, love of God. Translation: the internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love, and only with them does he distribute his love of God to people in general. Purport: distinguishing between pure devotees and internal or confidential devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami in his book Updeshamrita traces the following gradual process of development. But out of many thousands of karmis, one is better when he is situated in perfect Vedic knowledge. Out of many such learned scholars and philosophers, one who is actually liberated from material bondage is better. And out of many such persons who are actually liberated, one who is a devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered to be the best. Among the many such transcendental lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the gopis are the best, and among the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the best. Srimati Radhika is very dear to Lord Krishna, and similarly her ponds namely Shyama Kunda and Radha Kunda, are also very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in his Anubhashya that among the 5 tattvas, 2 are energies, Shakti Tattva, and the 3 others are energetic, Shaktiman Tattva. Unalloyed and internal devotees are both engaged in the favorable culture of Krishna consciousness, untinged by philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. They are all understood to be pure devotees, and those among them who simply engage in conjugal love are called Madhurya Bhaktas or internal devotees. The loving services in parental love, fraternity and servitude are included in conjugal love of God. In conclusion, therefore, every confidential devotee is a pure devotee of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoys his pastimes with his immediate expansion. Nityananda Prabhu, his pure devotees, and his 3 Purusha incarnations, namely Karanodakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu, always accompany the Supreme Lord to propound the Sankirtan movement. So Nityananda Prabhu is the Karanodakshay Vishnu. Chaitanya. I'll repeat it again. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoys his pastime with his immediate expansion. Nityananda Prabhu, his pure devotees, and his 3 Purusha incarnations, namely Karanodakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. They always accompany the Supreme Lord to propound the Sankirtan movement. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is accompanied by Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and Gadadhar and Shivas. All the time they are together in the Sankirtan movement. So thank you for joining. We'll continue our reading next time. From here onwards, let's pray for the peace in the world and for all the devotees in Ukraine and everywhere else. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.